Okay, so I want to review a little bit about the last class. Yeah, in the last class. Okay, in the last class we learned something about the software, right? And we have the two types of the software. The first one is application software, and the second one is system software. Application software, everything's enhance the productivity and solve problem. What you see a lot of the software, right? You have the Word, the Microsoft Word, Excel, or Photoshop. And system software is something we control the hardware and interface with the end user. And the most important is that it's operating system here, right? And we learned something about the low-level language and the high-level language, right? And in the low-level language, right? In the machine language, everything is 0 and 1. And basically, for every program, every software, if you execute program, ultimately you have to translate it into the machine language, right? And the low-level, we have the machine language, you have the assembly language, and the high-level, it contains English word, price, and make it very easy for you to understand. But remember that whenever you execute the high-level programming, you have to translate it into the machine language. Right? That's why you have the two steps. You can be the compiler or can be integrator, right? And the compiler, that means you do the whole program at one time, and you translate it into the executable file. And the next time, every time you run, you got input from user and you keep it down the output. Interpreter, that means you do it step by step, line by line. That is something. And so you have two types of the error in the program: syntax error, right? And the logic error. What's the difference between the syntax and logic here? What is it? Any of you? Yeah.
Syntax is based off of the language. If you input the language incorrectly, and then the logic error is where the code runs but gives you the wrong output.
Yeah, right. So syntax is that it's something belong to the programming, and whenever you have the syntax program, it stop, and it only run when you fix it, try it and fix it. Right? And the logic error is that program is run, but the expected output is not what it is expected. Sorry, output is not what it is expected. Right? And for the high-level language, ultimately you have to translate it into the machine code, and you can do the compiler and interpreter here, right? And you learn something about the development cycle. You have something about the understand problem, right? Plan the logic, write the code, translate, test, put into the production, and maintain program. That is the cycle. That is cycle because at any step, you are able to go back and to fix it here. And remember that for any time, the sooner you detect problem, the better program it is, right? And the lower cost it is. And the two more important phase in the cycle here is the plan the logic. It's understand problem and plan the logic. And sometimes we call it analysis. Right? That means you have to fully understand what is the requirement, right? And you have to do the plan with this one here. Okay, so yes, and we learned something about pseudocode and the flowchart already, right? And the flow pseudocode. Remember that pseudocode is not the real programming language. It's always the index line. It's representation. The logical step it takes to solve problem, and the flowchart it is pictorial presentation here. So we can see that is very simple pseudocode program. And remember that every pseudocode you have start and stop here. And for every program, basically you have the three basic elements. You have input, get input, you do the processing and giving out the output. So this program here, you got input is a my number, and you want to figure out what is the number of the number. That's why you have the my answer equal to my number times 2 here. Now think about it in the flow chart also. Right? That if you see, we have a parallelogram here. It is input, and everything you do is with the processing. It's a rectangle here, and again it's output. Again, it is a parallelogram here. So we use this program here. You see on the left, it is a flow chart, and on the right here, it is zero chart, zero code here. And remember one thing is very important here. When you code the program, always try to make meaningful prompt. Right? Always tell the user what he have to do. Right? Tell this one program here, it works also, right? But it's not really make sense to the end user because he don't know what have to do with the program here. But is this on the right here? You make more meaningful prompt, right? Tell the user that you have to enter the number and output here. My answer is it makes more sense, right? Let me run it again. You can see the difference here. In this one here, it's the Raptor program. So I run it. I don't. Let me. Okay, when I run this one, right, you see, I do not have any problem here. So it's very hard for the end user to know what's going on with the program, right? So it's better that you have to put the prompt here, tell him that please enter a number or something like that, right? To make more sense. That's why in any program, you see, when I run this I run this program it again, it makes more sense when I run this one here. Oh, I think great in the. So you can modify this program here to make it more sense. What? Yes, right. So see, should be better is that you make a prompt here, enter a number. Right? So for the answer also, you make it more sense. You see, now it has the prompt. Tell user what have to do. Right? Have enter number 10. Now my answer is 20 here. Make more sense when you work with the prompt. Repeating instruction. Actually, we go with the loop later. I do not go into the detail for this one here. Okay, that's something you work with the IDO. For this class, normally you work with the Raptor, but some of the homework you work with the Python, but the Python you do it in virtual machine. You do not have to go with the actual Python program here. Anyway, if you want to do it in the project, you have two options. You can do it by the Raptor, or you can do it with the Python. So if you want to do with the Python, you have to download the Python, and you have to. Some of you will work with the IDE in the Python, but some of you can work with the PyCharm or Visual Studio Code. It's up to you. Totally up to you. Okay, and so we go over to the pseudocode. Every program you have the three basic elements: input, processing, and output. So that is the program in the pseudocode. You have to declare the number of balls. The ball here is the number format. The revenue here is the number format. And you get the input, you figure out the revenue and giving out the output here. But it should be better you do with some of the prompt here. You see that in order to get the input from the user, you have to tell him to enter the number of balls so for today. And you do the same with the output here. So I believe I do everything with the pseudocode also and the Raptor also, right? Do the Raptor also. And I will instruct you how to run with the Raptor. You have two ways to do that. The first one is the run and compile, run and verify. The second one, you click execute to completion here. Right? The third one is very helpful. You run step by step. Basically, you have any error. You see what step you have the error in. Okay, do everything. This one also, you did everything. The comment is very important. So in the program, for any program, in even the interrupter or pseudocode, right? The program is very helpful if you use the comment. So remember that in the real programming language, when you use the comment, from the computer perspective, you have no benefits. Because when you execute program, you ignore every comment here. But it's very, very useful for programmer. You see what is going on with program. You can think about if you have a very, very complicated program. A lot of things going on, but you have the comment, what is it, what is it, what is it? It's very helpful for the programmer here. So in the interrupter, you might have some kind of comment here. The first one is the header comment. Header comment is that you have some information, right? The name of the Raptor program, the author of Raptor program, the version, and the date of the last revision, a summary or goal of program, and variable use with a short description here. So if you look at this program, I have a very simple program here. This is a number. The program will figure out how much money from the ball you sold for today, right? Now, in order to do with the header comment in interrupter, you just right click on the start here. Exactly, have the comment here. You have the comment here, right? So you see, you have some of the information here. Some of the information you should put into this one here. Let me see. Right? So we have information about the name of the program. I think about this one. This program is go here. Dot wrap it. Right? Now author, programmer. I put my name, right? And version. Version is version 1. Last division. Revision here. And that's the goal. That's the one. Is the program will how much money you get from number of ball here. That is the purpose of program and variable. What do you think? Is it program? What are the variable here? Is it program? What are the variable? How many variable for this one? What do you think?
2 variables.
Sorry, say again.
2 variables.
What are they?
Balls and price.
Anything else? What do you think? How many variables for this one? Yes.
There's a third one right now.
Yes. Actually, for this one, you have the 3 variables. Right? You have the 2 inputs and you have 1 output here. And 2 input it is number ball we saw for today. And the second input is the price. What is the price for each ball? They are 2 input, right? And in order to figure out how much money you have to store into the revenue variable here, that is the output. So for this program, actually you have the 3 variable, not only 2. Make sense? Hello?
Yes, that makes sense.
Okay, so we have the variable use here. You can think about number ball, store number of ball. So for today, and so on. You can use the price, each price for each ball, and revenue is how much money you earn, right? So that one it is this one is a header comment, and you have another type of comment. It is an inline comment. So basically, in the inline comment, that means you can put the comment in any any line of the code here. Think about this one, right? You put it here, put it here. This step will take out how much money? Number 4. So, okay. So basically, that is the way you do with the comments in the router. Right? So remember one thing here: the comment have no benefit from the computer perspective. You see, if I do not have the comment here, it runs the same, right? The way it runs the same. But in think about if you have very complicated program, it's very helpful for you. You are a programmer to see, to follow up what is going on with this one. Right? That's the thing you have to remember for this one. Now, on this class, we do something about the very basic, something about the Python. And you have some assignment when you have to log into the Cengate and you do with the virtual machine and you do the Python. And that's why I have to introduce something about the Python in this class here. Okay, in the Python, basically remember that for every program, right? You have the 3 basic elements: input, processing, and output. And in the Python, if you want to get input from user, you use the built-in function, input function here. It is built-in function, that means user use. You do not have to define how to use it here. Right? So in the Python here, the input function is always give you, right? Give you the input store information here. Right? So now see, think about this one. I open the Python. You have many ways to do the Python here. Right? So I think that in the last class I already. Okay, so if you want to work with the Python in this class, here's something you have to do. The first one, you have to go to Python, download here, and you go to the Python org here. In that you have the summer version. You have a version for the Windows. You have a version for Linux and Mac OS and something. It depends on your computer. If the Windows download the version for Windows, Linux download for the Linux here. Now, so when you download it, you install it. That's the first step. So when for this computer, I will install the Python, and when I put the Python here, yeah, the Python here. Normally, I do with the IDO here. So we see in the Python. Remember, Python is an integrator language. That means you can do it line by line, code by code, one line by line, right? Very straightforward here. Nothing. This is the shell mode. The code is a shell mode. That means you can do with the integrator mode here, interpreting mode here, right? So we think about I put the number I assign number 10, and now I want to bring out I is the number 10 here, right? Or I put the I plus 3 here. I have the 30 here. That is. You see, it working with the shell in the interpreting mode, one by one, step by step. But actually, for the large program, normally you have to write the whole program and you have to compile it, not step by step, right? Now, in the way you work with the Python, the Python also they have the IDO mode here. IDO mode, that means integrated development language environment. Right? So you can click on this one and you go to the file and go to the new file here. That is a text editor. You can do it, right? And in the Python, remember that whenever you want to get anything from user, you use the input function here. Input function. Think about this one here, right? I got I and I have input here. That is a prompt. That is a prompt and the number. Can you guys log into the computer and go to the Python and follow me? Yeah, you have the Python here in this class. We can log into the desktop computer. Okay, so here, right, is enter a number. Here's the prompt, right? I just put it here, enter a number, I prompt here. This one. Right. So what happened here? Then let me do with the format here. What's the prompt? Okay, so what happened? What happened after this action here? You can see what happened here. After this happened here, what happened here? Oh, what is this? What? Where am I? Okay. This one. Huh? Okay, what happened after this one here? You have the slot in the memory. You have the slot in the memory. You have a slot in the memory. It's active. It's slot because it is a variable, right? And you got the input function and enter the number. So it depends on the user. If the user enters the number 10, it will store number 10 here inside. It store number 10. And if he enters the number 20, it will store the number 20 here. Right? So see what happened here. For this one here, right? Let me do it here. Now I restore the number I got it from user. Right? The next step I want to print out. So in the Python, if you want to print out, you use the print function here. Okay, it's the build function. You do not have to define it, and you just use it here. Right? So in Python, if you want to use the print here. Sorry, not this one. Yes, that is a function, print function, and I want to take it out the value of I store in the variable in my memory slot, right? And now that's one here. So if I want to run the program, the first thing I click to run here, but the first thing ask you to have to save it here. So have to save it. I put it in the laptop here. That's it. Okay, so now see, it tell me enter a number. I put the number 10, print out the number 10 here. And if I want to run it again, I run it again. I click to run it again. Run here. Okay, this 20. I print out 20. So in the Python, remember that you have the two function here. The input function you got it from an user, and it's stored in the memory. And the second one, if you want to print it out, you use the print function. It makes sense? Yeah, try to do it. It's after here. Normally for the Python, you have many ways to run it. And for me, I normally prefer to work with Visual Studio Code, because in Visual Studio Code, even have you to check the syntax error before you compile it, right? So that's why normally I work with the Visual Studio Code here. So in order to do with the Visual Studio Code, you have to go to the Visual Studio Code, right? And you have to download this one for the Windows, and it will install it here in the computer, right? And let's see. Okay, and in the Visual Studio Code, remember one thing here. What's it? Here, you have to go to the extension, right? And you have to write down the in the Python here, and this one, this one is the Python here. And you click on this one, and remember you have to install the Python extension in order to do the Visual Studio Code, right? And now I already installed in my computer, and I believe that every computer here already installed, so you do not have to install the extension. But if you want to do it at home with your computer, right? You have three steps here. The first one, download and install the Python. The second one, download and install the Visual Studio Code. The third one, go to the Visual Studio Code, go to the, I think the selection, go to the selection, and you tie in the Python, and you have to install the extension Python here. Now I go back to my program here. Let me do with a very simple program. I show with Python. Python? Yes, this one here. I do again. Equal to, I get input. Input is a function. Enter the number. And I print out. Okay, so when I run it, the first thing I have to save it. That's all right. I run it Python. Okay, so number 10, print out the 10. Okay, now let me see, it should be better. I will zoom it here so guys can see. Okay, so now you know that in the Python you have two functions. The first thing is input, you get input from user, and the second one is a print out input. But one thing is very important here, you have to pay attention for this one when you work the Python. Whenever you got the input from the function input here, it always in string format. It always string format. Even that you have the number 10 here, but it is actually in the string format of 10. Let me show you when I work with the Python here. Let me go with the Python when I work with the shell here. I go to the shell again. This one. Close this one. Now let me do that. So I equal to input and the number. I put the number 10 here. Now I want to print out X here. You see, X here inside the quote mark. Everything in Python, sorry, let me drag it out. Everything is a Python. If you say that it inside the quote mark or double quote mark, it always in string format. And by the default, whenever you got the input from user, it always in string format. Right? So now, if you want to use the number, you have to convert it into the number format. Now think about this one. I have number actually 10, right? I want to see if I want to plug it 3 here. I got the error. I got the error because I cannot add string 10 with the number 3 here. I got the error. We got the syntax error here, right? So that is very important. In the Python, whenever you got the input, it is always in string format. Even that you enter the number 10 or number 20, it always in string format. Right? So now, if you want to use a number, you have to convert it into the number format. And you have two variable functions. The first one is int function here. The first one is int function or int function here. It will convert the string into the number into integer format. Right? So think about this one. When I convert here 10 here, it will give me out the number 10. It's a whole number here. And the second one is a float here. The float. The float, it will convert the string into the number in the floating point. Think about 10.5 or 7.55, whatever it is. So remember one thing. Actually, you have to remember two things. Whenever you got the input, it always string format. And if you want to do anything with calculation, adding a multiplication or division, you have to convert it into the number format. And you use the two functions here, int and float here. Now, let me do with this one here. Right? So now I know that I cannot add with 3, right? Now I want to convert it here. See, now I have 10 here. But the reason here, you see the difference here. This one is string format, inside the quote mark. This one number, not inside the quote mark. It's a number, right? And now I can add it here. I can add it here, right? I have int add, but be here, it's 30, right? Because I already convert it into the integer number, I can add it to the number. Make sense? Or think about this one here. I have enter number, this one. Where? Yes, this one here. I do it again. But this time I enter the floating point. And now I want to use this. Okay, I cannot add it to it, right? Because arrow here. Now I use the floating. Right? And I have the here. So see, it converts into the floating point number, and add it the number 3 here. It makes sense. Any question? Let me know. Okay, so now you know that, right? You have the input function. Remember, in the input function, it always is always in the string format. It always in string format. That's why if you want to use the number format, you have to convert it by the two function here, int function and float function here. Now, when you've done everything with input, now time for processing. In the processing, you can use the sum of the calculation here, you addition, you subtraction, multiplication, division, integer division here. I'll talk about what later. And you have remainder and the exponent here. Now, think about this one here. Right? Think about I have shell here again. I have shell here again. So I have the I equal to 3, I have y equal to 7. Now I can do many things with the calculation here, right? So I have x plus y, I have x minus y. What is it? Now, if I want to do with the y divided by x here, y divided by x, you have this one, but you have y quotient here, you divide by x. Or this one here, when you use a double slash here, it always round it to the it cut everything in the decimal point and only keep the whole number format only. Right? That is something that is different between the slash and double slash here. That one is division, that one is quotient here. Right? Now, another one it is another one is the remainder. So we have y remainder x here. The remainder is always give you what is remainder from the division, right? You see when you divide 7 by 7 for the 3 here, you have 2 and you have remainder 1, right? So for this one here, when you have y, you remainder x, you have 1. This remainder here is very helpful in the case you want to test the number, it is an odd number or even number, right? So if you know if you want to test it is even number, make sure that when you remainder for 2, it's always 0. Right? Makes sense. Okay. And the last one is the exponent here. So we have you have the let x equal to 2 and y equal to 3. Now we have x exponent y here. You have it, right? The exponent that means x exponent y that means 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 3 times, right? Any questions so far? For I see that 14 of you online. You have any question?
No.
Yes, that's good. Okay, so last thing here is that you see when you do everything with the input, right? You do everything with the processing. The last time is that we bring out the function here. And again, you can use the built-in function print. At print, you can put anything you want here, right? So we think about You can concatenate string together. I think about this one here. I have the hello here. I want to concatenate with the space here, and with the word here. And print it out. Hello world. It's a hello world here. So in the string, you can concatenate them together, add them together. Okay, I'm here. I think I have this slide here that is instruct you how to work with the Python from the computer. The first thing you have to download Python, this one. You can work with the Python with the interactive mode. That's the one I'm working here, the share mode, interactive mode. Or if you want to work with the Python, in idle mode, remember you go to the new file here. That is it's an idle mode. You work with the compiler here. Right? And it's up to you. For me, I prefer to work with the Visual Studio Code, but some of you prefer work with the IDEO in the Python, or you prefer to work with the PyCharm, whatever it is. It totally is up to you. But if you want to work with Visual Studio Code, you go to the link here, you download it, and remember you have to install the extension for the Python also. And if you want to more detail, you have the link here, how to run the Python in Visual Studio Code here. I think the PowerPoint, I believe I put it somewhere. If you go to the learning activity, you have the slide here. This is the slide I uploaded here. Okay. Any other question? Okay, so now see that is very simple instruction for guys how to work with the Python, right? So now try to work with one specific program. Try to work with one specific program. This program requires that you have to figure out what is area of the rectangle. Now, again, you go back to the software development life cycle, right? The first step you have to understand program. The problem here is that you have to figure it out. What is area of a rectangle, right? Now we go to the analysis. Analysis, that means in order to figure out the area of a rectangle, what do you need from user? What are the input here? What do you think?
The length of the wood.
Yeah, right. That's the length of the wood. That is the result. That is analysis, right? And once you already got the length and the width, how can you figure it out? How can you figure out the area of the rectangle?
By multiplying.
Yeah, just have them together. Okay. Now try to do with the Python to work with this one, or try to do with the Raptor also. I believe that you have the Raptor assignment to figure out what is the area of the rectangle. Now this one, let me go to. Can you see online my slide? Okay. This almost. Okay, so sorry. So in case you know that my slide, right? So you go to the module. Whenever you go to the module, you go to learning activity here, right? And this is the slide here. This is slide for the module one. Now we go back to the module. I think I believe I done everything with the lecture already. Now it's the time for you to practice with the Raptor and the Python or pseudocode here. Now you go with the module one. Right? It's a module one here. The first step is the first assignment discussion. I do not mention it here. The next one it is So next one is to work with debugging exercise. Right? So when we work with the debugging exercise for this one, it instructs you how to do the debugging, but if you want to do this one, you have to click on the link here. It link it to the SendGate, and it download it to your computer. Download it to your computer. Yeah, you can save it. Yeah, I think I will have this. Now, in the debugging exercise for normally for every week, for every week you have a 4 debugging exercise, and 3 of them in the text, and the 4th one in the image format. So basically for the I had to check. Yes, this one. Okay. Okay. So basically for the first one is in the image format. So it's up to you. You can use any tool to correct it, or you can use the Microsoft Word to redraw it, or you can use any drawing software to do it, or the last one, use a blank paper to correct it. You draw it in the blank paper. Take a photo of it and submit it. That is the easy way. I don't know why it's too complicated for this one. Now I go step by step for this one. So okay, this is a very simple pseudocode. Right? Now again, remember, even that for pseudocode, you also have the comment here, and these 2 lines here, they are header comment. They are header comment, and they tell you what is the purpose of the program here. Right? So this one here, this pseudocode is intended to describe computing the price of an item on sale for. That is a header comment. Now, if you look on this one here, if you look on this one, you have to start and stop. Everything correct in this one. Right? Now you have the input, you have the processing, and you have output here. Now, if you look on every program, the first step you have to figure it out. What is the expected output for this program? What do you think? What do you think? What's the expected output here? What's the expected output for this one? What is the expected output for this program? Tell me. Tell me. Yes.
It should be original price minus 25%.
No. I'm asking you only simple question. What is expected output? I'm not asking you how to figure it out. Just answer me. What you expected from this program? Yes.
Final price.
Yes, that's all. The expected output here is the final price. Now, in order to figure out final price, what do you need? What do you need? What are the input here?
The other variables, so original price.
Original price. So for this one, right? For this program here, you only have 1 input and output, and 1 output only. Right? 1 input and 1 output here. You have original price is what you got from the user, and the final price is what you want to print it out. And during the process, you might use some of the other variable. It doesn't matter. But for this one, only have 1 input and 1 output here only. Right? Now, see this one here. what happened with this one? Sorry. What happened with this step here? What do you think? What happened with this step? What happened with this step here? You got it from user. Input function here. You got it from user. And you store the value you got from user into the variable name or the price here. That depends on the user. He might enter the number 100 or 200 or whatever it is. That's the first step. The second step here. This is a variable. So whenever you use a variable, again, remember that you only have a slot in the memory with the name discount here. And you figure out discount what? Discount equal to price times 0.25. What's wrong with this one? What do you think? What's wrong with this one? Yes.
Wrong variable.
Yes. Remember one thing, the last time I mentioned that whenever you use it, you have to be consistent with variable name. You see, the program here call out the variable price. You see, it look it out. Where's price? Nowhere. Nowhere, right? This you got the syntax error here. Right? Actually, for this one here, you want to use the original price, not the price. Right? That's why you have to correct this one here to the original price here. It makes sense? Anything wrong with this one? Anything else wrong? Yeah. Anything else? Anything else? Hello?
Discount is also spelled differently, isn't it?
Hello? Anything wrong with this program?
It should be times 0.0.
Yes, right. I see. You have to look on the instruction here. It's 10% of category, not 25, right? So that's why you also have to correct it here, 0.1. Now, move to this one. Move to this one. What's wrong with this one? What's wrong with this one here? Yes.
Discount.
Yeah, again, you see, it take it out the discount here. Now, the first step, discount is original price times 0.1. So think about this one here, right? You times 0.1. You have 10. You store it into the discount variable 10. Right? So next time here, final price, original price, you take it out. 100 here. You minus to the where? Nowhere. No variable here, right? So again, this one you have to be consistent with this one here. Huh? Okay. So actually, I think that in order to find out and correct the zero code here, you have multiple ways to do that. You can look it up on the text here. It's simple, right? Or but if you work with a complicated program, try to convert it into the Raptor. Try to convert it into the Python, and you see what goes wrong with this. Now, let me help you to do this one with the Raptor. Now, you can try this one with Raptor. Do this one with the Raptor. You follow exactly the same, and you see what's wrong with this one. Now do the same. I'll open the Raptor here and do the same. No, actually, not. Can you go to the download? Yeah. That's the last time you went there. Right? Yes. So do this one with the Raptor. You see what's wrong with this one here. Now let me do the Raptor here, right? I have new file. So you see, the first step, you got the input, right? You drag and drop the input here. Okay. Modify it. Try to make from input, right? So try to make here. and the original price. And you want to store it into variable name. Yeah, this one here, or that is variable name, right? That's the variable name. Copy it, paste it. That is input. Now you do the calculation. Remember that every calculation you do with the assignment here, right? You drag and drop the assignment here. You want to assign the discount here on the top, right? And you want to assign it to the price here in the bottom. Now the next step, again, you do an assignment here, right? Do the assignment here. On the top, you have final price here. Bottom here, you have the original price. Sorry, you have the position here. And the last one you see was the last one for this one. Where? That was this one here. You want to print out. This is output here, right? You have to put the output here and try to make the prompt info, right? The final price is, and add it with this one. Okay, so that is the program. I convert it exactly from the pseudocode to the router, right? Now see, if you want to do the debugging, you run step by step here. Enter the original price, 100 here. The second one, figure out what's the discount, right? See, what's wrong here? Variable price not found, because you see this one and the original price here, they are not consistent. Right? That's very easy for you to observe it when you convert it into the router or when you convert it into the Python. Very simple, right? So now you know that it's not consistent. You have to correct it here. You have to correct it. Stop. I copy this one, and I have to correct this one to the correct one. Now I run it again. I have 100 here. And again, you see this one and the discount here not consistent, and you have error also. So again, you have to stop and you have to fix it here. You have the consistent variable name. Now you run it. Why? Oh, it's a 75 here. Not what I expected, right? I expect in the 90 here because only 10%. Right? This program runs smoothly. But the expected the output is not what you expected. This is logical error. And the logical error because instead of put the 10% here, you put the 25%. Right? So you see, in every program you have the logical error and you have the syntax error here. And you can easily find it out by running program and by testing also. I want to test. I want to make the test here. I make sure that I enter 100. And the output I expected to have 90. But I see now it's a 75. I know something goes wrong. Right? That's why I had to come back to fix it. So I come back to fix this one. I change it to the one here. I run it now. Everything works perfectly. Yeah? Now you can do the same with the Python as well. You can do the same with the Python. So with the Python, it's very simple, right? Okay, you have input here, right? And the original here. Price. And remember, you have to convert it into the number format. You have to convert it in the number format. That's why original price can be the decimal point, right? So you have to use the float function here, not integer function. So you have to use the float here and the original price. Yeah, you can open the Python and do the Python. Okay. So you can see that is step you got the original price, right? The next step here, do the calculation. Now do it. Do it in the Python. Actually, it's a Python. You just copy it. Okay, let me show you how to work with Python. So in the case you work with Python, now let me show you how to work with Python here. So if you open the Visual Studio Code, right? You go to the new text file here, and when you click the new text file, you have to select a language here, and you scroll it down. You scroll it down, you have the Python here, and click the Python. Or you can do with the Python also. You can do with the Python. You can do with the Python IDEO here. In the Python IDEO, you go to the file, in new file, and you just code it here. And the last one, output it with the print function, right? Output it with the print function. So see, actually for this step here, I just need to copy. I do not have to do anything. I just copy it, paste it here. I have indent here on the correction. The last step, output, that means I have to print, right? I have to print here. Then what? I have to print the final price. Here. Now, stop. I want you to stop to look at me here. That is the benefit of the Visual Studio Code. That benefit. You see, it tells you, right? Something wrong here because here it's not the price here. You have not defined here, and it's not consistent here, right? When you call the price, what is the current price here? Actually, it's supposed that you have to define it first, or you have to assign it first, right? See, something wrong with this one here. See, you have something here, something wrong here, right? So that's why I prefer to work with the Visual Studio Code. Even that I have not done it yet, it shows me something wrong with this code, right? See, something wrong here because this one is not consistent with this one. Something wrong here. I do not have anything with this style with this one. This one is not the same. That is very beneficial of the Visual Studio Code here. Okay, so now when I run it in the program in the Python here, because this one run and debug here, I have 100 here. I got error. I got error here because you see, not defined yet. So you have not defined yet, you cannot use it in this one, right? So that's why I know for sure I have corrected this one. I have to put it here. You see, no notification anymore, right? No more notification anymore for this slide. Right? So I stop it, run it again. $100 here. Okay, you see this cow here not defined yet, right? That's why again I know for sure there's something wrong here because inconsistent. You see now run it work, right? I expect the 90 here, so I know that's something wrong with this one, so I had to convert it one here. And run it now, everything works perfectly. Right? Yes, right? Now, one thing about the Python or any program, you know that it should be better you put some of the comment here. This is very simple program, right? This is very simple program. You do not have to do with the comment, but try to do with a good habit here. always integrate the command in your program. So in the Python, if you want to put the header command, you put it everything inside the triple double quote mark here, right? Everything like this one here. This program is in text keyword, right? And programmer, my name, right? And version. And the purpose of this one is that this program will figure it out the area of the rectangle. Input. Sorry, I forgot it. This program will figure out the what is it? I just copied here. Input, original price, output. Okay, so see, from the computer perspective, have no benefit because when you execute program, it will ignore everything. But you see, if you are the programmer, it's very helpful for you to do with the command here. And you have two type commands. The first one is a header command here. It's at the beginning of the program, give you a sum of the general purpose of program. And the second command you can put it here. It is an inline command. So in the inline command, put a hashtag here. You put here. This is the original. And you can do the same with this one. And you can put it here. Sorry. Put it here. This is a discount. And so on. So see, if you have a complicated program, it's very helpful for you to follow up. But from the computer point of view, you run it do the same because it always ignore every command here. Right? Okay, it makes sense. Okay. So yes, I already help you to understand how to do with the pseudocode, how to do with the debugging here. Now, that's the first one. The second one here. The second one here, or this one. Now, what's wrong with this one? What's wrong with this program? Actually, for this simple program, you do not have to convert it into the Raptor or Python. It's very simple, right? You can clearly, you can easily see it in the text here. What's wrong with this one here? Now, what is expected output for this one? What's the expected output here?
Miles per gallon.
Yeah, right. So in order to figure out the mile per gallon, what are the output? Sorry, what are the input?
Both miles traveled and
Yeah, mile travel and the gallon, right? Think about you drive on the way. You drive on the way here. You drive for 100 miles, and you have the 5 gallon. So we figure out the mile per gallon is 100 divided by 5. You have 10 liters, right? So now see, you know that expected output. You know the input here. Now see what's wrong with this program. What do you think? What's wrong with this program here?
Instead of miles traveled plus gallons of gas, it should be miles traveled divided by gallons
Yes,
of gas.
right. That what error it is? What type of error it is? What do you think?
Logic.
Yeah, it's a logic error, right? Instead of divide, now it is plus. So we have to put division here. Anything else? Anything else? Anything else? What do you think? Anything else? The next thing we have to check for the consistent variable. The variable consistent or not? All right.
The gallon of gas used is different from gallon of gas.
Yeah, right. See, not the same here. Not the same. Again, it's syntax error. Anything else?
Miles per gallon and the output is also different.
Yeah, I see this one here. This mile per gallon, this mil per gallon here. Right? Okay. So I think that's everything about the debugging. You have to find out. You have to locate for syntax error and logic error here, and you have to correct it, right? And I want to reserve the remaining two for you to do it. I don't want to do everything here. Any questions so far? Yes.
When we submit these, we are submitting the good code.
Yeah, good code.
Okay,
And it should be better that you highlight what's wrong with this one.
okay, all right, thank you. Does it need to be in a certain file format, like a Raptor format?
No. It is in pseudocode.
Pseudo-
You have to do.
Okay, okay, sounds good, thank you.
Now, this one. This one, you watch video on how to use a Raptor. Actually, I do not think you will have to do it because I do it very clearly and specifically on the class already. You know how to do the Raptor already, right? And now this one, you have to create the program that user enter the width and the length of rectangle, then program figure out the print out the area. Very simple. You know how to do it, right? You need if you need my help, just let me know. Otherwise, very simple. Okay, very simple. This one is Python also. In this class, actually, you do not have to do it's a real Python. Actually, it wrote it into the virtual machine in the center. But anyway, if you want to practice yourself with the Python, I will give you the suggestion. It's very simple, right? The first one, you have the execute program. Run it here. Execute program. And that is a print function. That is print function. And everything here is a text. It's string. Print out exactly what you enter, right? That's why you have learning a program here. Now the second one, you have to modify program. So this way I'm learning how to program in Python. Simple, right? Then copy this string and paste it here and press execute, right? And the last one, modify program to print out two lines. The two lines, that means you need one more print function here, right? Let's print it out. And one more thing about the Python here. Remember, whenever you're done, right? Let me do it again. Let me try to do this one here, right? Okay. Now, when you done everything with Python, right? Remember, you click the task here. Click on this one. Click on this one here, right? And you run check. 50%, right? And run check. And after you done everything, you run check. Remember, you have to click the submit here. And the grade of this one, we need to record into the canvas and in sync into the canvas. And remember one thing. Remember that whenever you want to check, guys, whenever you want to check your grade, you have to go into the canvas, not the Python. Right? And if you want to check your progress, remember that you have the option here. You click the grade here to see. I think we have a discussion here. So remember here that I want to highlight again. I want to remind you again. Every discussion you have a two debate. right? And the initial code is on Thursday or today. And and you are supposed that you have to respond at least 2 other students. And the due date for the response here is on Sunday. So remember that in the canvas, I cannot set the due date. That's why I only set the due date for initial code for today. But remember, when you're done with today, you still have the work. You have to reply at least 2 other students, right? Okay. So, any other question from you guys? This one I want to reserve it to you. You have to do it by yourself. You read the article here and do some of the research. So I think I believe that everything done with this part, right? Everything with the chapter 1. I go beyond with the pseudocode, Raptor, and Python. Any other question? Any question? Let me know. Okay. And remember that anytime you need my help, you can join my office hour. In the syllabus here. Right? You can join my office hour. That's my office hour, or you can email me or inbox me if you need any help. And again, the sooner you contact me, the better for both of us. Right? Okay. Okay, so let me check the attendance here. See anything else? Why so? One more here. The quiz here again, it linked to the my tab again, and you have to click on the my tab, and you have to do it on the my tab. Yeah, you have to click on this one. Okay, let me check the attendance. Zachary Baker, are you here?
Yep.
Okay. Zachary Barrow, are you here? Hello?
Yes.
Okay. Cameron?
Here.
Okay. William?
Here.
Rickman, are you here?
Here.
Emiliano, are you here?
Here.
Riley, are you here? Riley? Hayden, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Jasmine, are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Luke, are you here?
Yep. Here.
Diego, are you here?
Here.
Okay. Sorry. Jack, are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
Jose Luis. Jose?
He's here.
Yeah, I think he's here. Martin, are you here? Martin, are you here? Doesn't let me anyway. I'm not really care much. But I think that if you really engage in the class, you know something about that, right? You learn for yourself, not only about grades, learning something for yourself. Shalon, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Nathan. Aiden.
Here.
So I think that's all. And see you guys on next Tuesday. And remember, anything come up, anything if you need my help, you can join my office hour, or you can send me email or inbox me.
I have a question.
Yes.
Are these recordings, will they be on Canvas as well?
No, recording is only on specific servers. Because the thing is that this is a learn anywhere class, so they try to draw you engage in the class. That's why recording are only providing you have the sick list or some very specific reason.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Bye-bye.